Hi everybody. Now, normally when I make a video about working on cars, I start it by putting on the safety glasses, and usually my videos are shot near the car, and usually the GTR that I own. But today it's a little different because while I am doing work on the car, I'm not doing work in the car. What does that mean? Well, what it means is that I received in the mail, while I was out of town, a neat item from JF Customs from a purchase I made on eBay of, well, let's just show you. This guy, all right? Shift boot from JF Customs. And as I fiddle with it, the original shift boot is out. So what do we have here? Well, this is the original, and as you can see, it's still attached to the plastic frame that's normally in the car. Very easy to remove. If you want to know how to do that, there's dozens of people that have made videos about how to remove this thing, and so you can source from that. But it's very easy. Just be very gentle with it. Take your time and don't crack it, and you'll have this out. And then the shift knob just unscrews, so don't overthink it. All right, now, so this is the old one. I'll just talk about a few things with it. When you can see, obviously it's 26 years old, it's dingy and it's dirty, and it's got a little rusty ring up here. And that's what you expect from a 25-year-old thing. But look at what it is. Let's see here. I was always under the assumption that this was a just thin leather boot. The wear marks and such should have told me differently. But as you can see, obviously, when we turn inside out, it is simulated leather. But it's 26-year-old boot, and it's seen its days. It's time for it to go. And so this is what I got. This is by JF Customs. Like I said, it cost me I think it was $34.95 US plus like $10 shipping, which seems high, but $44. It was this, and if I reach for it, the e-brake boot as well. Now I don't have the e-brake boot up here because you have to remove part of the center console to get that out. So, but here it is, and it's like this. So as we talk about this, you're getting the same thing here. So, first impressions as I get it out of the shipping container. One, it's real leather. Here, let me show you. Look at this. You can even see the chalk marks on it from where they put it together. So let's do a little comparison here. It's obviously a heavier pebble to the leather, as you can see. A little bit heavier pebble. As compared to this one, it's more smooth, much more early 90s. This is much more robust. More of a, and it is, you can feel right away, this is a heavier material, it's thicker. And as I show you some other things here, that'll become apparent. But when we turn them inside out, you can really see the differences. And boy, look at that, that's real leather. It's still, a couple differences though. So these are not meant to be OEM reproductions. These are an aftermarket part, and JF Customs has put their touch on it. For instance, a heavier pebbled leather. And then if you look at the decorative stitching, you'll notice this one's really tight, real narrow. And this one, it looks like it's maybe even a heavier thread, and it's a wider space. So you get a bigger dash mark or stitch line, if you will, as compared to this one. Now, if you look along the edge, both of them have a metal bar in here that links into the frame. And they went different ways to make this work. So the factory actually sewed theirs in. They looped the leather over the metal bar or plastic bar, whatever's in there, and then they sewed that edge finished. JF did not do that. So they put their metal bar in there and then glued, using, I'm sure, a leather glue, which is more than adequate. There shouldn't be, once this is assembled, there shouldn't really be any force on this stuff. And so it should be fine. And it definitely is glued in there quite strongly. One concern I have is on what's going to be the after edge, or the back edge of it, the part that's at the bottom of the throw. The metal bar in here does not run to the edge. It's kind of, I don't know, maybe a quarter, maybe an eighth, and maybe not a full quarter. It's between a quarter and an eighth. Anyway, so it's not here. Here it's on these edges, it's all the way to the edge. But back here on the back end, it's not. And I think they got glued together too, so there's no way I'm gonna be able to get that in there. I hope that doesn't affect things. Also, I can feel that that's where, like, imagine if this bar in here, it kind of feels like, it feels somewhat like how a coat hanger feels. It's that gauge of wire and it's kind of flexible like that. This feels like this is where they decided to create the ends. Obviously you would take the piece of wire and make this loop, and that's where it is. And it doesn't feel like it's soldered or joined in any way. So I'm hoping that that does not cause interference issues with mounting it back to the original trim piece, the plastic trim piece. Another thing, that the factory one seems to have a lot of spring tension, so I don't know what they use in it. The JF one does not. This one is actually quite flexible. And again, I'm hoping that does not cause fitment issues. Again, you're not going to ever have much force on this thing when you're shifting, so it shouldn't pull out of there unless you are just being idiotic with the thing. But there's my take on the JF Customs, what they did there. Other than that, I mean, to have a real leather thing like this, it's obviously well made. They obviously put care into it and design. That's really, really nice. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause the video for a moment, and I'm going to get set up. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this boot out of the plastic, and we are going to transfer this plastic doohickey out of here into this one. We're going to try and get it all set up. I'm just going to pull this like so and get it up. Yep, there we go. And then it just kind of comes out of there. Okay, so we got it out. And like I said, look at the... Yeah, Nissan really put a good piece of metal in there. Oh, that's interesting. So they're... but they sleeved theirs or soldered it. So I can feel the break in the metal rod here, but it's doubled over like this, and then it must be soldered. But look at the strength and the springiness. All right, it's springing. If I do that with this one, well, it doesn't spring, it bends. So I'm going to do the reverse of how I got it out. And what I'll start with, I'm going to start with the back. The back has the shortest edge and has 2 tabs. I'm going to try fitting that in there first. I'm going to work my way around like so. A little bit of pulling and squeezing, and that is in there. Okay. Now, again, it doesn't have the springiness of the stock one. It definitely does not. Also, the leather comes right to the edge, and that's okay, because this is what actually, this edge here, and then these tabs, that's what it actually sits in. So it shouldn't create any interference when it's in there. Like, it shouldn't be trying to push the console. Next up, thing into this thing. Now, you'll see this has a metal clip on it, and I thought I was going to have to expand that to get it off. You don't. Actually, it just pulls like so. So. That's how that goes. So we're just going to pull that down. Now, this rubber band. Oh, that's not even plastic. That's rubber. Oh, this just got weight. This is going to go like this, because when we turn it right side out, it's going to be poking up this way. So we need to kind of keep that in mind. I think we're there. No, I'm just going to take this metal ring, and I'm going to try and get it onto this plug. Let's go and do this. Enough with the ceremony. Let's just go ahead and get it back up through. Yes. Okay, so this is a thicker material. When this one was right side out and the OEM one was right side out, it had a pretty firm edge, and you can kind of see. Okay, I'm going to show you exactly what it looked like, because you can see it. You can see how fine that is. See how fat that one is? That's the thickness of the material. That's the difference. That and this is not real leather, and this is real leather. So it's not going. This is not going to fold over as easily as this stuff did. Now, luckily, the shift knob is pretty beefy. So unless you have a real slender knob, you probably won't notice that this is out like that. In fact, it should kind of sit down on there, and what it should do is push that out and make it very pretty. Sorry for how dark it is in here. You know what? Let me grab a little headlamp action. All right. So this is the JF Custom boots installed. Again, sorry for the light situation. So what happens when you work in the winter and you start something when the sun is still up and it goes down. So that's the fit. Hopefully you can see that. And how they look. And actually they look pretty good. I was worried about the gear shift being kind of balloony. It's not too bad. It's not bad at all with the knob all the way down. Now, here's the better fix my light. Here's the gear. Here's the parking brake. Now, here's the only thing. Fits pretty snug like that. Looks good with it down. Now up. Here's the thing. I mentioned before how the stock units have these really strong springy bits. All right, this frame is strong and it springs back into place, and these don't have that. So the JF Custom had that flexible kind of squishy, you can bend it thing. So even with it installed just like the factory one, just the weight and the bunchiness and the heaviness of this leather has caused the frame to bend and go down in there. Now it's not really a big deal. I hope not. Except the only issue is these boots do provide some sound deadening, and I don't know. I don't like it. The look is great. They look great, but I'm not crazy about this. I'm not crazy about how floppy that is and how I can just push it down and it just bends out of the way. So, I don't know. What do I like, what don't I like about JF Customs finally as compared to stock? The biggest thing to take away from this is the mechanical side of these things. And what I mean is the frames on which these are built. The stock ones are just way superior. And I really think it's going to be something closer to coat hanger than what I think was, not sure what they were using. Some sort of wire, but it had no, it had no springiness, had no rigidity to it. It was real floppy. Almost imagine a really thick solder. Maybe not quite, yeah, actually pretty close. Imagine if you had a really, really thick solder wire and it was just floppy like that. Like wherever you put it, it just stayed. And these are like coat hanger. So maybe that's it. If you got 40 bucks and you need shift boots, I mean, they look good in the car. Really, they do. Despite there's the little bit of a fitment issue with the this corner on the brake boot. What happens is because it's so floppy, the wire when I put the thing down, whereas this one stays put, the JF Custom one just bent down into the center console here. But these are meant to be boots. These aren't cosmetic. These are actual boots, and underneath there is, you know, the carpet and stuff. So there's, you know, these should keep things from falling down in there, which is the point of the boots to begin with. And this won't do that. They look good. I'm sure actually they probably have a little more sound deadening because it's a big thicker leather. But that's about it. Like I said, the from here up on the JF Customs is pretty good. And you saw with the knob all the way down, this isn't even too billowy on the JF Custom. But again, yeah, so there you go. That's all fit in there. I guess this is kind of a follow-up bit. I finally got it all back together. Oh, you do not need to pull the center console to get this on, by the way, or off. There's like two channels that this sets into. One on this edge and one on this edge. All right, this part, the forward and aft ends, are just underneath there. So what you can do is kind of, if you can pop one of these sides out, you know, kind of pull it up, or really what you're trying to do is you're trying to push this forward like this, down into the console a little bit. And then if you can do that, you can get the back up and then it just pulls right out. And it's the same way to get it in. You just mush it in there and then bring it like this and then slide it back, because all that's holding this in is the console itself. All right, like, comment, subscribe. I always forget what order that goes in. But thanks for watching and have fun out there.